Hi, thanks for joining me today. Now, while we're in the midst of this COVID-19 crisis, a lot of people have questions, particularly around bail. And if you end up getting arrested, what are your chances of getting out? We know that prisons and jails, because of how close people are to each other, it's very difficult to uh, have the same kind of social distancing and precautions taken in those settings than we can out in the general public. Now, there have been a lot of changes as far as how courts are addressing the situation of people in custody, and particularly with people getting lowered bails and being released from custody. And these developments have been happening over and over and over again. And what I mean by that is just things keep changing. So some courts are doing some things, other courts are doing other things. But just recently, the Judicial Council of California has come out with a standard bail schedule that's supposed to be used in all counties starting on April 13th. So from April 13th onwards, all counties need to apply this bail schedule to all of their cases. So first of all, this new bail schedule applies to everybody who's being held in custody pre-trial. That means anybody who's arrested and then put into custody or awaiting their jury trial. This doesn't apply, obviously, to people who have already gone through trial and are serving a prison sentence. And what this bail schedule sets as kind of the preliminary guideline is that bail for all misdemeanors and for all felonies is $0. And there are a lot of exceptions to this. But first I want to talk about what $0 means. Now sometimes in various courts, for example in San Francisco, if the judge says bail is at 0, that often means that there's no bail. The person's going to be held without any bail. That means they can't get out of custody. But in this situation, when the court's saying bail is $0, that means that you don't have to pay bail to get out. You can just get out. And there are some administrative issues with that. Sometimes different sheriff's departments need to put some kind of a bail down just for their record system, and a $0 means that you're in custody. So what some counties are starting to do, including Alameda County, is they're setting bail at $0.01 just for administrative purposes. But the base for everybody is all misdemeanors, all felonies, $0 for bail. And there are a bunch of exceptions to this. So I'm going to go through what those exceptions are. And first of all, any serious or violent felonies. Any serious or violent felony is not covered by this same bail schedule. Felony cases where somebody is resisting an officer, violations of a protective order, and certain violations, not necessarily all violations of a protective order, threatening a witness, spousal rape, domestic violence cases, particularly battery or corporal injury on your partner in some kind of a domestic violence setting, felony criminal threats, stalking, a whole number of sex offenses, too many for me to list out in a short kind of informational video, and DUIs, felony looting, and possession of a firearm by a felon. So those are the cases that are not covered by the emergency bail schedule. And that being said, the courts can still deny somebody bail in its own discretion. This doesn't change that fact. So the court might come in with a type of case that isn't covered within those exceptions, but they might say, you know what, this is a unique circumstance, so there's going to be no bail in this situation. And as far as enhancements go, if you're charged with a crime where the bail should be $0 under this bail schedule, but there's some other kind of enhancement, whether that be a gang enhancement, gun enhancement, or what have you, then the county's standard bail schedules would apply to those situations. Now, some of those counties might have changed what their bail schedule is under these circumstances for those enhancements, but The Judicial Council of California's guidelines refer to or pass its authority to the counties as to what to do in those enhancement situations. Misdemeanor violations of probation are, the bail is $0, and in situations where somebody is on or a violation of a felony probation or a violation of post-release community supervision or mandatory supervision, courts are supposed to be looking at this same bail schedule, the emergency bail schedule. And again, anywhere where a case is not covered by this emergency bail schedule, the counties themselves are allowed to make up their own rules as far as, or refer back to their old rules as far as those specific instances are concerned. One important thing to know about this order is that all of these new rules are effective until 90 days after the governor has lifted the state of emergency surrounding the COVID-19 situation here in California. But the most important thing to know about all this is, I am filming this video on April 9th. Anything can change from here into the future. In fact, Alameda County recently announced their new bail schedule and how they were dealing with the situation with COVID-19, but they had to overhaul their whole new bail schedule because this one came out, and this is a mandatory bail schedule that all counties in California have to abide by starting April 13th. Now, some counties are already following these guidelines and this bail schedule. Alameda County has already adopted it. And they're keeping some of their other rules from their previous emergency bail schedule regarding some of the things that aren't covered in the Judicial Council of California's bail schedule. But the most important thing to know is that just because this is what the situation is today does not mean that this is going to be what it is tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now. So you have to constantly be checking in and seeing what the status is. And my biggest recommendation would be to consult with an attorney to learn exactly what bail might apply to you or a loved one while we're undergoing these uncertain times. So thank you for joining me. I hope that you'll keep following the COVID-19 crisis and stay safe. And we at the Nieves Law Firm will try to keep you updated as much as possible regarding how courts are dealing with the COVID-19 crisis. Thanks for joining me.